Ever found yourself wondering, is getting remarried really the right move, or am I about to mess this up? Thing is, the way we see marriage changes big time as we get older. What it meant when you were in your 20s or 30s is nothing like what it means when you're in your 60s or beyond. But the tough part, most folks don't realize that until they're already in the thick of it. Maybe you've been flying solo for a while. Maybe you've gone through a divorce, or maybe you lost someone you loved deeply. No matter your story, thinking about getting married again isn't just about love or not wanting to be alone. It's a big move, one that can impact your finances, your social life, your family dynamics, and overall happiness way more than you might expect. That's why in this video, we're breaking down 5 real deal truths about getting married after 60, and trust me, these aren't just tips. They might completely change how you look at love, commitment, and what long-term security really means at this stage in your life. Too many people jump into second marriages just because it feels right without thinking it all through, and that can lead to confusion, emotional burnout, and financial headaches. But if you go into it with the right knowledge, you'll be in a much better place to make a decision that actually brings you peace, balance, and real satisfaction. So stick around till the end, because what we're about to share could save you from heartache and help you figure out whether a new relationship is really the right fit for you. Whether you're almost ready to say I do, or you're just toying with the idea from a distance, this one's for you. Let's get into it. Truth pound 1. After 60, money gets a whole new meaning. When you start thinking about getting remarried later in life, your first thoughts are probably about love, companionship, maybe finally putting an end to loneliness. But here's something most people don't realize until much later. This decision isn't just about your heart, it's about your wallet too. See, folks love to say, as long as we love each other, the rest will fall into place. Sounds sweet, right? But once you hit your 60s or beyond, money matters get way more complicated. Your retirement savings, social security benefits, pension income, maybe even the inheritance you plan to leave your kids, all of that can be impacted just by saying I do. One thing people often miss is how remarriage can affect your social security benefits. If you're collecting based on a late or former spouse's work record, getting remarried can reduce those payments or cut them off entirely. And if that's your main source of income, that surprise could hit hard. Same goes for pensions and survivor benefits. A second marriage can totally change what you're entitled to or what you thought your kids would receive. If either you or your new partner is drawing a pension, you'd better sit down and talk through what happens if one of you passes or if things don't work out. Bottom line, before jumping into something new, you've got to look at the legal and financial side of things. Marriage at this stage isn't just about shared feelings, it's about shared assets, debts, and spending habits too. Even if you both keep separate bank accounts, depending on where you live, state laws might decide how things are split if one of you passes or the marriage ends. And let's not forget the next generation. If you have kids or grandkids, their future matters. A lot of people think, I'll just leave everything to my kids, like I always planned, but once you remarry, the law might not see it that way. Inheritance plans, property rights, it can all get shaken up. Just take Robert, 72. He remarried after losing his wife and figured everything he owned would go to his children, no problem. But once he tied the knot again, his new wife legally had rights to a big chunk of his assets. Suddenly, the kids were looking at a much smaller share. Robert had to have some tough talks with his kids and his new wife to find a fair middle ground. It wasn't easy, but in the end, he made it work. So if remarriage is on your radar, talk to a financial advisor or estate planner first. Get clear on how this choice could affect your money, your retirement, and the legacy you want to leave behind. Yeah, it might not sound romantic, but nothing brings peace of mind in your 60s like clarity and preparedness. Truth pound 2, family dynamics can get way more complicated than you think. Getting married later in life isn't just about bringing two people together, it's about bringing two entire histories, sets of habits, and life expectations under one roof. From the outside, it might look simple. Two people fall in love, decide to start fresh. But once families get involved, things can get messy real quick. Love may be between two hearts, but family ties, those come with years of emotions, traditions, and unspoken rules. Younger couples are usually building a life from scratch, but by the time you're 60 plus, you come with a full life behind you. Grown kids, grandkids, long-standing memories, deeply rooted family rhythms, and those things don't just disappear. So a new marriage at this stage, it takes more than just love, it takes careful balance and a ton of emotional intelligence. One of the biggest challenges, how your adult children respond. Even if they say they just want you to be happy, deep down they might feel like they're betraying the memory of your late spouse, or worrying about how this new person might shake up family traditions, financial arrangements, or even their future inheritance. Some kids will welcome your partner with open arms. Others might put up walls, anger, distance, suspicion. All of these reactions are totally normal, but if they're ignored, they can snowball into long-term tension that affects not just your marriage, but your entire family structure. And if you're a grandparent, it gets even trickier. If you've been the go-to grandma or grandpa for years, a new partner can feel like a disruption in their world. Some grandkids will adjust quickly, others might need time, patience, and reassurance. And the same goes for your partner's family. Mixing together two sets of traditions, expectations, and emotional baggage takes a ton of empathy and patience. Then, of course, there's the money. Even if no one says it out loud, your kids might quietly wonder, is this new person gonna change the will? Take something that was meant for us. It's usually not about greed, it's about honoring what was planned and what feels fair. They just don't want to see what their parent built over a lifetime disappear or get redirected. Take Susan, 68. She'd been single for over a decade when she fell in love again and decided to remarry. She thought her kids would be thrilled for her. Instead, she found herself caught in awkward talks about the will, holiday plans, even where she'd live. She knew her kids loved her, but she also realized this new marriage required clarity, transparency, and a whole new kind of trust to keep the family peace intact. So if remarriage is on your horizon, talk to your family before things get complicated. Be real with them. Tell them what's changing, and more importantly, what's not. Let them process it in their own time, but set the tone early. That way, you avoid future resentment before it has a chance to grow. And approach those talks with love, patience, and honesty. You don't have to choose between new love and old connections. Starting a new chapter doesn't mean tearing out the ones that came before. Let your family feel that. If you're still here watching and this part hit home for you, drop a 2 in the comments, Wed. Love to know you're with us. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that button and turn on the bell. Your support helps us keep creating content that speaks to your real life, your real questions. Now let's move on to the next truth. Truth Pound 3. At this stage, it's not about your heart, it's about what your soul needs. Relationships in your 6-0S, they don't look or feel anything like they did in your 2-0S or 3-0S. Back then, marriage was about building a future together, buying a home, raising kids, building careers, chasing dreams. But once you hit this stage in life, that foundation's already been laid. Now, it's more about sharing the life you've built, not starting from scratch. At this point, marriage isn't just about being with someone, it's about peace of mind, emotional ease, and having someone to walk beside you, not carry you or completely change you. And here's where things get tricky. A lot of people assume getting married again will feel just like it did back in the day. Spoiler alert, it probably won't. One of the biggest shifts, by now, you and your potential partner both have your own fully formed lives. Your routines, your habits, your quiet mornings, your personal space, they're not just preferences, they're comfort zones. So when someone steps into your world, they're not just entering your heart, they're stepping into your whole life setup. And that's where things can get bumpy. Some folks think finding the right person means everything will fall into place. But in reality, a second marriage takes serious awareness, clear boundaries, respect for personal space, and the ability to blend two strong identities without losing yourself in the process. Unlike younger couples who often depend on each other financially, most people at this age are already independent emotionally and economically. That changes the reason you're coming together. Now it's not about chasing success. It's about sharing love, companionship, and a calm kind of connection. But even that kind of peace needs some ground rules. How much time do you want to spend together? How will you handle arguments? Where does personal space begin and end? If those questions go unanswered, tension builds fast. Because at this stage of life, people don't want chaos, they want clarity. Also, let's not forget, you've both been through stuff. Maybe you lost a spouse. Maybe you went through a tough divorce. Those scars don't just vanish. Both of you carry emotional history, views on love, conflict, and closeness shaped by everything you've been through. And that's not a bad thing. It just means you have to be extra aware, extra kind, and extra real. Take Harold, for example, 75 years old and newly in love after losing his longtime wife. He thought he was ready. What he didn't expect was how different his new relationship felt. He was used to a partnership that had been built over decades. Routines, roles, even unspoken rules. But his new wife, she had been divorced for years. She loved her independence and wasn't looking to give it up. It took time. They had to find a rhythm, respect each other's space, avoid comparing past relationships, and embrace the new dynamic they were building together. So if you're thinking about stepping into something new, take a pause and ask yourself, what am I really looking for in this relationship? Do I want a full-time life partner or just someone to share meaningful moments with? Would I be happier living together or living apart but still being committed? Am I willing to bend a little on my routines and habits? Does this person bring me peace or disrupt the calm I've worked hard to build? Your answers. They'll either help you build something strong or show you where you're forcing something that doesn't fit, because the truth is, the right person isn't someone who completes you, it's someone you can fully be yourself around. No shrinking, no pretending, just real, easy presence. Truth Pound 4. Legal stuff matters more than you think. Most people think of marriage as love, companionship, and romance, and that's absolutely true. But once you hit your 60s, marriage isn't just an emotional commitment, it's a legal one too, and what you could afford to overlook when you were younger. Now it can come back around and bite you if you're not prepared. See, a lot of folks go into a second marriage thinking we're in love, the rest will figure itself out. But the truth is, love might bring you together, but if the legal foundation isn't solid, it can lead to messy surprises later on. Not just between you and your partner, but involving your kids, your assets, and your peace of mind. One of the biggest legal things to think about: estate planning. Once you get married, your spouse can automatically gain legal rights to your assets, even if your plan was to pass them on to your children or grandkids. And if you don't get that clearly in writing, what you've worked your whole life to build might not end up where you thought it would. That's why a lot of people choose to update their wills before getting remarried, or set up a trust to make sure things go exactly where they want them to. It's not about being cold or unromantic, it's about protecting the people you care about, plain and simple. Another biggie: medical decision making. What happens if you get seriously sick or can't make choices for yourself anymore? Who makes those calls for you? In most cases, your spouse automatically becomes the one in charge. But if your new spouse and your adult children have different ideas, that can turn into a full-blown family crisis real fast. That's why it's smart to set up things like medical directives or a healthcare power of attorney ahead of time. It clears up confusion, reduces tension, and makes sure your actual wishes are followed no matter what happens. Now let's talk about prenups. Yep, those awkward, unromantic documents that nobody wants to bring up. But hear this: a prenuptial agreement doesn't mean you don't trust each other. It means you're both grown adults being clear about what's yours, what's shared, and what happens if things go sideways. A good prenup lays it all out: assets, debts, responsibilities, so nobody's guessing later, and it saves you from future arguments that could mess up a good thing. Take Eleanor, 67. She fell in love after being single for years, but she had significant assets she wanted to leave to her children. Instead of avoiding the tough talk, she sat down with her fiancé and hashed out a prenup. They laid out boundaries, expectations, and responsibilities before saying "I do." The result: she had peace of mind, and her kids knew their inheritance was secure. Win-win. Look, talking about legal stuff might not feel romantic, but skipping those conversations, that's how real trouble starts. If you're even thinking about getting married again, talk to a lawyer who knows estate and family law. It's the smartest move you can make to protect your heart, your legacy, and the people you love. Because at this stage, marriage isn't just about falling in love again. It's about building a relationship that's secure, respectful, and built to last. If you're still watching and this hit home for you, drop a 4 in the comments. Let us know you're still with us. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that now. Hit the bell too. Your support helps us keep bringing you this kind of real helpful content. A liar. Let's keep going. The final truth is coming up. Truth Pound 5. What happiness means changes as you age, and that's totally normal. As time goes on, what we want from life shifts. What we call happiness starts to evolve. Back when you were younger, marriage was all about building a future, buying a house, raising kids, climbing the career ladder, locking in financial security. That was the dream back then. But after 60, it's a whole different game. At this stage, it's not about building something new. It's about living what you've built, enjoying it, finding meaning in it, and sharing it with someone who gets it. Happiness isn't chasing tomorrow anymore. It's finding peace in today. So before you dive into another marriage, ask yourself one real honest question. What does happiness look like for me right now? And does this relationship fit that? A lot of folks assume that getting married again automatically brings joy, but truth is, happiness at this age comes from different places. For some, it's about sipping coffee at the same kitchen table every morning with someone who makes the silence feel warm. For others, it's keeping their independence and just having someone there for the special moments. And some people just want to bring someone into their life without disrupting the comfort they've worked so hard to build. The real question is, what does happiness mean to you today? Not what it meant 30 years ago. What you need now, not what you used to dream of. One of the biggest mistakes people make in their 60s is thinking love will fix loneliness. Sure, love and companionship are beautiful things, but peace, That starts inside. If you're not okay being on your own, marriage won't magically fix that. In fact, it might end up feeling more like a burden, something that takes away freedom instead of adding joy. Lifestyle compatibility matters more than ever. By now, you've got a routine. You've figured out how you like your mornings, your vacations, your quiet time, your social life. If your new partner lives a totally different way, that can cause more tension than connection. Some folks love spontaneous getaways. Others like their calendar neat and planned out. Some people thrive in crowds, throwing dinner parties and chatting the night away. Others need solitude, calm, and personal space to recharge. Those differences can either make a relationship richer or wear it down. So where do you stand? And how much are you willing to flex? Let's look at Frank, 72. He met an amazing woman and married her quickly. After years alone, he thought this would fill the gap, but it didn't take long to realize they were wired totally different. She was super social, always ready for a trip or a gathering. Frank, he loved being home in peace and quiet. They cared for each other, sure, but syncing their worlds wasn't easy, and before long, Frank started missing the freedom and simplicity of his single life. That's why, before you take the leap, you've got to get real with yourself. What do I truly want? Do I want a full traditional marriage, sharing every part of life? Or do I want a relationship where we love and support each other without losing our own space? Could I be happy living under the same roof? Or do I feel better keeping separate homes but staying emotionally close? There's no wrong answer here. Only the one that brings you peace. And maybe the most important thing of all, Salt, whatever decision you make, it shouldn't take you away from the peace you've spent years building. It should deepen it, protect it, let it grow. Final thoughts. At this stage of life, your heart and your head gotta work together. Alright, we've reached the end of the video, so take a second, step back, and really think about what we've covered. Getting married again after 60 can be an incredible experience, a fresh connection, meaningful companionship, moments worth remembering. But it also comes with a handful of truth you don't always see until you're already in it, from finances and family dynamics to emotional needs, legal stuff, and most importantly, what you call happiness these days. All of it matters when you're making such a big decision at this stage in life, because let be real, this isn't about tradition anymore. It's about doing what actually feels right for you. Some people find peace in getting married again. Others are happiest keeping their independence or building a connection based on friendship, not formality. All of those options are valid. The key is finding what aligns with your values, your lifestyle, and what makes your heart feel calm. So if this video gave you something to think about, here's my advice: don't rush. Give yourself the space and time you need. Have the real talks with your loved ones. Sit down with a financial planner or a legal expert if you need to, but most of all, listen to yourself, your needs, your feelings, your hopes, because this chapter of life, it's not about what others expect from you, it's about what you truly want. Forget what society says is normal. Follow what makes you feel at peace. Life may be short, but at this point, every moment matters more than ever. Thanks so much for spending this time with us today. If anything we said here spoke to you, drop a comment below. What stuck with you? How are you planning to apply it in your life? Your thoughts aren't just feedback to us, they keep us going. They inspire us to create more content that matters. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Your support helps us reach more people and keep bringing real, honest conversations like this to the table. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself for real.